Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, sir. Good evening to all the dignitaries, honorable guests, my dear colleagues and students. I, Chitrangada Roy, Assistant Professor in the Department of SMIT, feel pleased to welcome you all to the Alumni Talk on Career and Opportunities in Electrical and Electronics Engineering, organized by Department of Sikkim Manipal Institute of Technology. I heartily welcome respected Mr. Mohammad Nasir Ansari sir, Head of the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Sikkim Manipal Institute of Technology, to present the inaugural speech. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Greetings from Sikkim Manipal Institute of Technology. Our esteemed resource person for the alumni talk today. Uh, there are pass out students from 2011 batch, Mr. Salman Samsi and Dr. Risa Bhandia. Faculty members, dear students, some of our alumni also who are attending this session today, and all dear participants. I sincerely thank you all for joining this particular session, alumni talk on career and opportunities in electrical and electronics engineering. Our EEE department alumni cell was in touch with our two resource persons for quite some time. They are our notable and proud alumni working into diverse fields, and finally today it's possible that we are having this talk now. I'm glad that we have today quite a good number of participants attending this talk. As it is very well known that alumni are considered as one of the most important pillars of any institute, and we should constantly engage with them for the benefit of all its stakeholders. So, as a part of this particular thought process, like in the past, we thought to have this particular talk session by this alumni, someone who could highlight on the topic career and opportunities in electrical and electronics engineering. In recent years, it has been observed that the number of students opting for any core branches of engineering has gone down a lot. There could be multiple reasons for it, and one possible reason could be that such students probably fail to understand about the opportunities that the core branches has to offer. Since both of our speakers today are highly successful in their respective work areas, they have worked in Europe after their postgraduate courses there in Europe itself. They have stayed there for a significant number of years, and they would be the right people that we should listen to. I myself was also in touch with both of them and found that they too were equally eager to speak to both of our faculty and students, including some of our pass out students as well, and help us in knowing exactly what our students can do after they pass out of SMIT. So I'm sure that this session is going to be very important as well as interesting for all of us. Once again, thank you all for joining us and have a fruitful session ahead. Thank you. Over to Mrs. Chitangana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us with your words. Now, I profoundly welcome our speakers of the talk, our notable alumni, Mr. Salman Samshi, sir, and Dr. Rishabh Bhandia, sir, of Tripoli Batch 2011. Before we start the session, I would like to introduce much about the speakers. Mr. Salman Shamsi, sir, has an experience of more than 7 years in IT and digital consulting across various industries, mainly in Europe. He is currently working as the service portfolio manager at Allianz Technology in Germany. Dr. Rishabh Bhandia sir has a PhD from Delft University of Technology, and he is currently working as utility analytics engineer at Sentient Energy in Europe. We are extremely thankful to both of you to take some time out of your busy schedule and to join us, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot, Nasir and Sai, sir, for your kind words and for the warm welcome. Before we jump into the presentation, I'd like to share one of my screens so that you guys can see what we are going to present. Let me know if you guys can see the screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. So, yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank the esteemed HOD sir and Dr. Nasir Ansari sir for the kind introduction, and also Chitangda ma'am for facilitating this session and organizing this session. And besides that, I would also like to thank the audience for taking out time for today's session, especially the current student at SMIT. Please bear in mind that our audience are not usually students, so we would request you all to be a little bit forgiving for the mistakes that we may make during the course of this presentation. Yeah, starting with the presentation itself, we have a very straightforward agenda. We'd like to begin with the introduction and then talk a little bit about what is our perspective in terms of how studies, career, and market opportunities are interrelated with each other. And we'll also touch upon the topics of electrical engineering and new trends, and also talk about a little bit about consulting. So what exactly the consulting life in consulting can be. Then we'll also talk about some brief, let's say, best practices that we can possibly share to help you kickstart the career. And this is particularly addressed to the students. And what else might be needed for success at work, which in general would be a good thing to keep in mind, and followed by a question answer session. Jumping straight into the topic, or before jumping straight into the topic, I would like you guys to participate in this small, let's say, quiz or multiple choice question session where you guys would need to fill out or choose one of the following options. And it would help us to understand who exactly is the audience and what are the preferences of the audience. The voting has not yet started, so I'd request all of you to kind of use your mobile devices or computer devices to log into this menti.com and use the following code that is highlighted over here, as you can see. And once you are there, or maybe in 30 seconds, I'll start the session for this particular question, so that you guys can choose an answer or choose an answer according to whatever is or would be the career path that you would like to pursue. So now the voting is open, so you guys can vote, or first log into this menti.com and use the following code and then choose your options. So I have put my timer on, and I'll just wait for 2 minutes so that everyone gets enough time to put in their answers to this particular question. And in a while, you will be also able to see the result of this question or this exercise, and we'll be able to also understand from a speaker's point of view who exactly is our audience and what should we talk about or not talk about. So I see 12 entries as of now. We still have 1 minute remaining. Would definitely encourage all of you guys to just log into this website and use the code as is written over here. So 15 answers so far, not bad. We still have 45 seconds more. Good. Okay, now I close the voting. If in case there are, let's say, people who still want to vote, they can vote. But let's see the result of what exactly it is. We see that there's a big percentage of students who want to pursue IT technology consulting. Okay, and there's also a significant number that who wants to go in the direction of MS or research or PhD. Okay, that's also interesting. Core sector of engineering 9. Good. Okay, and those who want to join family business, pursue entrepreneurship. Okay, that's also interesting. 2 and 1, and no clear objective is also fine. It's always good to start, even if you are 0, 0 is a good starting point. So that's also good. Okay, jumping back to the presentation. Let us give you a little bit of perspective of who we are or what we have done so far in terms of our journey. So yeah, Salman Shamsi is my name. As you heard, I'm working currently as a service portfolio manager at Allianz Technology, but the journey started sometime back from SMIT, so 2007 to 2011. I was at SMIT just like you guys, addressing to currently the students. Then from 2011 to 2014, I was in data consultancy services, where I was just learning the ropes of the industry, so to say. After getting my fair share of lessons from this particular experience, I moved on to Germany in 2014 to do my MBA from here. And then I pursued some internships just to use what I had learned from my MBA and also understand how the industry works over here. And from 2016 onwards, I began my, let's say, voyage into the consulting life, or let's say journey into the consulting life, and I've been doing it since, or I was doing it till 2021, sorry. And then from 2021, I decided to move towards industries in order to, let's say, because of the shift in priorities, so that I can use what I've learned during the consulting also in the industry. And I see myself as a work in progress. And yeah, that is me. I would like to also ask my friend Rishabh to speak a few words about himself. Thanks, Rishabh.
Thank you, Salman, and thank you, Dr. Ansari sir and Chitrangada ma'am, for this opportunity. So I started also as Salman the same journey at 2011, 7 to 11. I did my bachelor's from SMIT. It was a very good experience. The faculty members were very good, and I had great learning. And From the campus, I got placed in ACC. I spent, I think, almost close to a year in ACC before moving to France to do my master's. I did my master's in smart grid and buildings. And during that time, I got the opportunity to also do internship at Schneider Electric. They have a R&D center in France, and I learned a lot there. Uh, After I finished that, I got the opportunity to do PhD on the topic I really wanted to do. So then I moved to TU Delft in the Netherlands. I spent around 4.5 years doing my PhD there, learning a lot, having a lot of industry collaborations. And finally, from last 8 months, I have been working as a utility analytics engineer in Sentient Energy. And I also consider myself as work in progress because there's a lot more to achieve and a lot more to go ahead. Thanks.
So yeah, that was a little bit about ourselves, but we'd like to share our perspective. It's not important who we are, but it's what we stand for is more important. And that's what we thought that it would be interesting, first of all, to understand how to build a career. I'm pretty sure that most of you guys would be, addressing again to the students, would be thinking how to build a career and where's the way forward. And depending upon where or what perspective you're looking at, it could be that you would be asking, okay, where's the sunlight if you're standing in the shade, or where's the shade if you're standing in the sunlight? So, and how's the journey going to be like in terms of when we build a career or when we start the career? These are the important questions that we need to ask ourselves, or you guys need to ask yourself. And these questions are also going to help you orient yourself to understand what exactly should be our approach. Many a times the answer to the question lies within ourselves. We just need to orient ourselves in the right way, both in terms of mind and body, to kind of understand what we need to do. So if the way forward, just as you can see in the picture over here, is what you experience, then perhaps you should learn how to swim. Or if the way forward is in the photo as you see in B and C, where's the sunlight and where's the shade, then perhaps you need to wait. You need to have patience in order to build your skills before you're ready for the market. And to answer the question of how the journey might look like, let me tell you, it's not like a straight line, or it's not like a rosy path that you can possibly walk. It's going to have its own, let's say, fair share of challenges and obstacles. But what you need to keep in mind is that you need to enjoy those challenges and obstacles, and use it as an opportunity to kind of push yourself even further and higher up in life. And that's where your green point would start. So first, orient yourself, try to make yourself motivated, position yourself correctly in terms of mind and body and spirit, and then start this journey. And as we talk about the journey, or as we'd be sharing our perspective of the journey, I'd like to move on to the next slide, where Rishabh would just give you a little bit of insight of how career in electrical engineering could look like, and also answer some of the important questions that are related to, let's say, job market and career in electrical and electronics engineering. Over to you, Rishabh.
Yeah. So electrical and electronics engineering, double E, triple E, however we call it, has undergone a lot of change actually. Before that, I will come to the importance of it, because from what Ansari sir said, I tend to have a feeling that maybe the students of today have a feeling electrical engineering is not that important, or is not that much of the job market. Is there a problem with that? I would say one thing, that everything around you runs on electricity. If you remove electricity from your life, what can happen you can imagine. So it's not redundant. It's a very much important part of engineering. What has changed, of course, is how the power system is behaving, or let's say the landscape of power system. It's not what it was 10, 20, 30 years ago. It's changing rapidly, and which is a good thing, because the power system of before was very mature. You had your standardized methods, your standardized protocols, but with the integration of renewable, the landscape of power system, the way it behaves, a lot of it has changed. It has become very challenging, and in that challenge, you have a lot of opportunities because there are a lot of things people don't know or people have not experienced it before, and there, when you come from a background of knowledge, you come from a background of knowing how things work. It provides a large area where you can participate and work. So what needs to be done is to identify and to understand what has changed in the EE domain and what new domains have come in, what are the sectors which can be more important from a job perspective. And you need to go beyond curriculum sometimes because you need to have a merger of 2 or 3 disciplines. So maybe we can move to next slide of questions where I can answer this a bit in more detail. I think the first question Salman can carry on, and then I can take over.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, the first question is pretty straightforward. Are my studies going to help me to get a good career? The answer is yes. That's the starting point. If you don't study and if you don't get good marks and if you don't develop a merit, which again would be determined by the studies that you're doing, because it's not just the studies that you're doing, you're developing your analytical abilities regardless of what field you are studying, and especially the electrical engineering, is something that would definitely push you to develop that analytical spirit that you would need throughout your life, throughout your career. So definitely your studies are going to help you, even if you're doing electrical engineering, or definitely if you're doing electrical engineering, to help you develop a good career. So don't assume that you can just ignore, let's say, the area of study to kind of become someone or have a good career. That's the starting point. In order to develop those skills, the analytical abilities, it is important that you have a good understanding of the studies that you're doing, and yeah, that would definitely help you in moving forward. With regards to the next question, I think Bishop,
I can take
you are
over.
the best person to answer.
So does it make sense to study the curriculum? Of course, yes. If you don't have the base, you cannot build a building, right? So of course you need to study the curriculum to know the basics, know how things behave, because at the end of the day, power systems still behave the way they do. There are a lot of new elements which have come in, but the behavior and the phenomena are connected to what are the basics. So yes, it does make sense to study curriculum, because if you don't, you cannot understand the newer elements. Is it sufficient for a job? It's a very tricky question, because as I said, things have become multi-domain. I will try to give an example. Now electrical engineering is moving in 2 ways. One way is integrating machine learning, AI, so that means a lot of data analysis and knowing, so bit of computer science has come in there. So now people, at least in industry, because of license issues, hardly use MATLAB and has moved to Python. So at this point, knowing Python is a great asset skill. And this is something you have to identify in your sector, what is the current trend, to be aware of those trends. On the other hand, if I see from a core engineering perspective, the integration of renewable, and as you would know, they don't behave like conventional sources. A coal plant or a nuclear plant, the way they generate energy is very different from how a wind or a solar does. And that has made it very important, the significance of power electronics or converters and inverters and those kind of devices. And so that, from the core perspective, that is another big area of interest, and technology has moved a lot. So you have to go slightly beyond your curriculum to identify first where you're more interested, and then see what are the trends in those sector or domain, and then develop those skills for that. So you just cannot stay in any domain in any engineering. I can say, at least for electrical, yes, you have to be a bit multi-domain in your approach. Salman, you can take question C, I guess.
Okay, so is it sufficient to have a bachelor's degree in engineering for job market? as I said, it's not sufficient. It's a starting point. What does that mean? It means that you need to build on what you have learned in engineering in order to become ready for job market. Job market would not ask you what have you learned, or it's not going to appreciate what were the contents or what were the chapters in your study curriculum. Instead, they are looking at things that are or that can be of relevance to the industry, and you need to orient yourself in that manner so that you have those skills that are relevant for the job market. And you need to have that kind of understanding, or you need to develop that understanding what exactly is relevant in the job market. So that's step one. Based on that, or what is relevant in the job market, you need to position yourself to get those skills that are relevant, and then try to move forward and position yourself in the job market. So the answer is no, it's not sufficient to have a bachelor's degree in engineering for the job market. You need to develop more on that.
Okay. Okay, so for the next question, D, how the job market looks in India for electrical engineering, I have to say that I don't have that much of updated knowledge on this, but from what I see from the trends is there is again, I think through private, because initially everything was government controlled. Still, I think transmission and distribution is very much government controlled, but private participation is increasing, and that will lead to more jobs and I think more competition. And the way I see it, HVDC is a big technology area, and fax devices from core perspective. As I said before, you know, a lot of big companies are investing a lot on creating huge wind parks, solar parks, green energy integration. Already these things have become a big trend in Europe, and it will go down to India also slowly. So you have to be aware of, because job market doesn't stay the same, they change from time to time, and you have to be aware of those trends. And the way I think, of course, due to Corona and now maybe the things are not that good, but long term, I think there will be a lot of growth. There will be a lot of need of energy, because without energy, nothing happens. And that need of energy will also come with its opportunities and challenges. And that is where the job market, I think, in electrical engineering would be quite good. But you have to be aware of the trends. Coming to the next question, can a AAA student pursue career outside field of AAA? Absolutely, absolutely. I have seen several people, including alumni of SMIT, who have done very different things from the core branch. Some have moved to, as I said, field of AI, machine learning. Some have moved totally to business, and also, as Salman, our speaker here, he's moved to consulting, which is not technically a core AAA thing. So there are a lot of opportunities, and you need to develop the skills for that. For that, you also need to identify where you want to go. So it's very important to correctly understand your motivation, and then accordingly act on it, because AAA itself gives you a lot of opportunities, but from AAA also you can get a lot of opportunities. Coming to next question, is AAA still relevant in Europe? How can we pursue? So I come to first part. AAA is still relevant in Europe, but nobody calls it electrical electronics here now. It has now become more energy, you know. So it's electrical engineering, it's a bit of electronics, it's also a bit of computer science embedded in it, because at the end of the day, with new devices and new technologies in the grid, you're generating a lot of data. So data-driven approach has become a big thing here, and data itself has become very valuable. So if you know how to crunch your numbers, so I will give an example. Right now in my work, what I'm doing is there is some utility in part of the world which is facing problems of failure in their system. It's a distribution operator, and what I'm currently doing is I'm analyzing the data collected from the devices. So I am analyzing the harmonics data, because when there's a failure, the harmonics usually show some spikes in their values. So I'm analyzing it to identify if I can predict some failures, or I can do some kind of information extraction of the nature of the failure, the cause of the failure. So as you see, the power system protection part also was very standardized from the perspective of, let's say, 10 years. But now it has moved from where you try to predict a failure rather than react to a failure. Before, relays used to trip when a failure used to happen. Now we work on that we should try to predict failure before even relay sees it. So things change, but basics remain same. So you have to catch on the trends. How can we pursue studies in Europe? Good question. I think I can tell you one thing. And this is from my understanding, Europe has a very aging population. So there would be a lot of job opportunities here in next 10 years. A lot of people are going to retire here, and they are not going to have enough people to fill those posts. So people, educated and talented people from India and other parts of the world will come in, and there will be more opportunities. So as I have repeated a lot of times before, you need to identify where you want to go and what kind of studies you want to pursue. So try to present yourself in a good manner, try to improve your English skills, and if you can learn another foreign language, especially for Europe, that's very, very good. So you have to augment your personality through this different skills level. And one thing I would like to say more is there's still a lot of respect if you do good in your university. So if you score good, you have a good chance of getting a scholarship here and have a good chance of getting to pursue the higher education. So don't neglect your bachelor studies, I would say. How does the job market look like in the field of electrical engineering? I think I've already answered in some way, but it looks very good, and there are a lot of possibilities. And as you will see, a lot of, I can give one example of Shell. Shell was predominantly an oil and gas company, but recently they have opened a green energy Shell initiative, and they're hiring a lot of electrical engineers there all over the world, because, as I said, eventually energy demand will increase and the landscape of energy production will change, and therein lies lot of opportunities for everyone. I think for beyond, Salman can give a better answer.
Yeah, thanks, Rishabh. So if you're thinking of job opportunity or job market beyond electrical engineering, then what I can say is there are lots of opportunities again, especially if we talk about consulting. There are so many big companies like Accenture, or all the big four companies like Deloitte or EY, KPMG. All these companies are looking now at digitalizing their teams or their task force. What it means is that there's lots of opportunity in the industry when it comes to technology, and all these big industries are trying to take the next leap of digital transformation, and these big companies or consulting companies are trying to fill in this gap, or trying to come up with solutions for these big industries like Siemens or Bayer or pharmaceutical, you name it. Like there are different industries. Yeah, pharmaceutical, you have big companies like Bayer or Roche. All these companies need lots of new technologies in order to move to the next stage of solutions that they are developing, and they are consulting companies that are helping them. It could be through cloud technologies or AI or so on and so forth. And when we also speak about automotive sector, especially in Germany, all these big companies like BMW or Daimler or Audi, all these companies are trying to move into the area of automated driving. And how is that possible? That would be possible only with the possibilities of integration of AI in the car. So connected drive and all those topics. It's a merge of classical engineering, of mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, and computer science, all of them are merging together to form or to develop or to create an ecosystem of solutions for that we are, let's say, using in our day-to-day lives when we're looking at automated driving or connected drive. So there are so many use cases. I would definitely encourage you guys to read more about what are the different technologies or what are the different solutions that are there or that are existing in different industries like pharmaceutical or automobile or chemical, in the let's say websites of these big consulting companies like Accenture or Deloitte or EY, and they always have those white papers which will help you to kind of orient yourself as to what exactly is the next thing to look at, what is the new trend that is going to take over in the market. And as I said, it's always important to understand the market and then ask yourself, how can I position myself to fit the requirement of the market and upskill myself in order to be a part of that driving force that is needed for that market. You have to do this exercise in order to move forward. And I think this is a good link to the next slide that I'd like to show, which is all about consulting. So there are so many times when we ask ourselves, and this is also kind of addressed to the part of the audience who wants to know or who wants to go in the direction of consulting. So we always ask ourselves, or at least I used to ask ourselves, what exactly the consulting is about. In 2011, I didn't have any clue as to what exactly the consulting could be about. So I've tried to crunch everything that I've learned about consulting in one slide. Of course, consulting is also beyond what exactly you see on this slide, but basically it's about understanding the ecosystem of consulting, which entails or which includes different aspects. So first thing is you have some internal stakeholders, as you can see on the left-hand side. So they are like your colleagues, your managers, your partners. You have to understand what is their expectation. They are, let's say, catering to the requirement of external stakeholders. What you see on the extreme right-hand side, which is the clients, which are the industry people who are, let's say, your BMWs or Daimlers or Bayer or Siemens or whoever the client could be, yeah, all the big names. These consulting companies are catering to the client requirements, and what is important is to make the client happy. What exactly it means is client satisfaction would be your North Star. If the client is happy and if you are delivering to the client what exactly is the solution that the client is seeking, then it's a green zone. Everyone is happy, and it's a win-win situation. So client relationship in consulting construct is very important. What we need in order to achieve high client satisfaction is definitely teamwork, as you can see in the bottom, but it's also about having these skills, which having skills, having speed, having quality, and being creative. What exactly it means is you listen more and ask open-ended questions so that you get lots of input. You have good skills to structure your thoughts and to present them. You deliver result at speed. You can't just sit on forever for developing a solution or a proposal. And you have to have a high quality in terms of your deliverables, and you don't have to just stick to the textbook. You have to be creative and think out of the box, and don't be a Dr. No, which exactly means that saying no to every new thing. So you have to be creative. And in the beginning, there is no work-life balance, to be honest. It's more of lots and lots of hours of work in order to come up to pace, in order to come up to an understanding or expertise level that is required in order to meet the requirements of the client. So that, in a nutshell, I can say is the construct of consulting, so to say. Then, yeah, I would assume that this is, I think, a good point to talk about what exactly it needs or what exactly is needed in order to have a good career. So maybe taking a step back at things, you need to have, if you want to have a good career, if that's a big if, because the desire or the motivation has to come from you, then there are some rules that we've just listed down, which I think would be good for you to start or for you to take into consideration before you embark on the journey of your career. So we figured out that graduation is just the beginning. What exactly, this is the one point that we also iterated in the previous slides. It's, as we describe it, in the nursery of your career. You can't assume that you would get into a job as is defined by your college syllabus. It has not happened to anyone or to so far of the people of whom we have met. And I don't think it'll happen to you guys as well. So you need to push your boundaries. You need to understand that graduation, what you're studying right now, would just be a beginning that would push you into the right direction. So what it means is that you need to develop skills that are beyond your syllabus. As Rishabh also pointed out, that you have to understand what are the requirements in the market. So skills that are relevant to the market would be something that would help you to orient yourself to develop those skills. Then you need to figure out the competencies that what competencies do you have. So for example, there's a skill that is needed for an astronaut. Perhaps some of us or most of us might not be having those skills. So you need to do some soul searching and to find out what exactly are your strengths, and try to work hard on those strengths and try to hone them and try to use it, and try to understand what if those particular strengths are going to meet the, let's say, the skills that are required in the market. Perhaps someone is good in codings, perhaps someone is good in presentation. So you need to figure out what exactly are your competencies. And then you need to invest, let's say, 10,000 hours before you jump into a quick judgment about yourself. What exactly it means is you need to put in lots of time to upskill yourself, to develop the skill that you need for the market. And 10,000 hour rule is something that has not failed lots of subject matter experts. So it's definitely a best practice that I can recommend to you. And then once you have invested, then try to validate your expertise through the subject matter experts, as you can see, also written over here. Then fifth point or fifth rule is try to take control of your dreams. Do not get affected by someone else's opinion. Might be that you have in your society or in your environment, there are people who might be judging you, or who might be judging your capabilities, or who might not be, let's say, very supportive about your ambitions. So you don't have to take their negativity into consideration. What is important is that you take control of your dreams and try to pave your path. And yeah, that's the way forward. And then it's tied to the previous point, so don't be afraid to fail. Might have heard it so many times. So failure is the best teacher. Accept it, learn from it, and move forward. And don't try to repeat the same mistake that you have done before. At least that's what one can try for. And then again, going in the same spirit, you don't need to wait for anyone to offer you the job. If you have the right skills, if you've done the right work, if you've put in sufficient effort to upskill yourself and to get the skills that are required, then you don't need anyone to offer you a job. You have everything that you need to be in the job market, and you just need to be loud and clear about it and present to the audience that you have the skills that is going to add value to their organization. And you need to be good in presentation at this stage, and you need to be bold and brave. So if you want to try out entrepreneurship, or if you want to study abroad and leave your comfort zone, you need to just be brave and be bold about it. It would definitely take you out of your comfort zone. You'd not be speaking the same language. You'd not be having the same environment. But that's the spirit of it. If you don't try it, if you're not bold enough, if you're not brave enough, then you'll not succeed at it. And last but not the least of the 10 rules, I think, or we think, that it's very important to enjoy the college life. That's where you build great relationships, you make great friends, and you might be having or you might be struggling with your GPA or some other discouragement that might be pulling you down. But the idea is to enjoy every bit of your college life and try to live the most of it.
I would like to add to that. So one example you can see is me and
Please.
Salman connected in college, and that friendship has gone till on now, and even today, if I have some problem or I need some advice, I always call Salman, and likewise from his side. So, and these things really help. These really help.
Thanks, Risha. Then very quickly, what steps you guys need to take to kickstart your career? So these are some lessons learned from both of us. It's first of all, know yourself. So try to do your own analysis of strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat that would, let's say, is in your horizon. Then try to understand what exactly are the things that you're best at, so that you can focus on that and get away from the noise that is around you. Yeah. And then once you've figured that out, try to strive hard to develop good capabilities. And then be on the lookout for opportunities. So stay hungry and stay foolish. It's a much, let's say, cliched word, but what exactly it means or what it should mean is definitely that you should be ready to try, to learn, unlearn, and relearn things. You need to be adaptive to excel, and you need to, let's say, be always on a lookout for new opportunities. That goes hand in hand with get out of your comfort zone. So if you're not out of your comfort zone, if you're just doing the same things that you did, let's say, over and over year again, then perhaps you're not developing yourself, and that's not something that you should be doing for a long time. Otherwise, it will just stop you from development. It'll stop the growth of your skills. So yeah, get on your toes. So if you're not on your toes, you're not learning. Is what we figured out. And then be consistent. So there are so many students, or at least we also during our student days used to wonder what is it that would keep you at the top or would keep you moving forward in the right direction in your career, and that is your consistency. So it's not like one day before the exam you study so much, and or let's say for 5 days you study and for the rest of the year you don't study. You need to be very consistent also in your career to be at the top or to be at the best place where you want to be. So that's also definitely something that you need to take into consideration. Besides that, this can be also relevant for everyone who is, let's say, in the work life. So what else is needed for success at work? We figured out that there are like some best practices that we can also talk about. So in general, regardless of which stage of life you are in, listening and oral communication, building it is definitely something that's going to help you to become a better worker, yeah, or be good at work. Being adaptive, and having a creative response to setbacks and obstacles is also very important. Unless you enjoy those setbacks and obstacles, and unless you use them as an opportunity, you're not going to be able to push forward at work. Your personal skills, your soft skills is something that is also something very important. So you need to have confidence and motivation to work towards a goal. If you don't have that motivation, there's no point in trying to push things forward, because it's not going to move at all. So you need to have those good personal skills that are, let's say, very much important to be a good success at work. Team spirit is also very important. Most of the times we look at ourselves to kind of orient ourselves for performing the best at work, but it's always in the teamwork that the great benefit and the value comes out. So team spirit is also something that you should inculcate in yourselves. And of course, try to push yourself to contribute value to the organization and be effective and enhance your effectiveness in the organization. And last but not the least, it's also coping with evil. So there are some political situations and scenarios that might not be most suitable for you. So be on the lookout for such kind of negative energies and try to cope with it and try to filter them out in the best possible manner. Those were some, let's say, very quick thoughts or perspectives from our side. Would be happy to have a question answer session from you guys. Back to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rishabh sir and Salman Samsi sir. So, dear participants, if you have any questions, you can ask.
I
I
want to
think you
ask
can.
one thing. what exams do I look forward for being successful in triple A department? Like I'm very confused at this right now.
I think Rishabh, you can take that question.
Which exams? What do you mean exactly? Your bachelor exams or after your
No, after
bachelor's?
bachelor's, not bachelor's. I'm
Okay.
actually very scared of GATE. After giving JEE, I don't want to go through that competitive experience again. It's very scary. I'm
No,
actually a
don't be
dropout student, so
no, don't be scared of competition. It doesn't help. There will be competition. You cannot be scared and run away from it. The thing what you can do is you can identify what are the areas you want to go for, and accordingly prepare yourself. If you want to go for masters in India, yeah, GATE is the way to do it. But if you want to come to Europe, then maybe you can enhance your other skills and try looking for opportunities here and for universities here. But yeah, I would say don't get scared, and even if you don't have a good rank, don't think too much, because I know the level of competition and the amount of people giving these exams. One wrong question can move you thousands in your rank. So don't be demotivated from that. You have to take this as a challenge and go ahead. So apart from GATE, maybe you can try, I don't know if there are some other university specific exams. But yeah, in India, if you want to go to government college, you have to go through GATE. There's no other way, unfortunately. And for Europe, yes, you can look for which universities you want to try, which sector, and supplement it maybe with IELTS and I think SAT and those other exams. You have to
GRE, I
do.
think, would also be
Yeah, GRE,
yeah.
yeah,
thank you. I look forward to it.
yeah. Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for the answer. Thank you, Ashish. Anyone else from the participants who would like to ask a question?
Hello, hello,
Yeah,
hello,
we can
भैया.
hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
we.
Yeah,
audible.
भैया. I want to ask how I can manage my both extra skill and this college studies both.
This is
So
what. Okay, yeah, Salman, go ahead.
if you want to answer that, then please, you can also answer.
No, I think you can answer that better. I can add on if I feel like.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a very important question, and I think the best way to do it is to understand how much time you need to, let's say, dedicate in order to get good marks, or let's say perform good at the subjects that you are learning at the university. And that particular time might differ from person to person. It could be that you might just need 2 days, or it could be that you might need 20 days. So you need to figure that out first. So once you have done that, based on that particular time, you just separate it, invest that time in your studies, get good marks, and for the rest of the time you can focus on doing all the extracurricular activities that you want to do, be it athletics or be it debates or whatever that you want to do, or sports. Possibilities are endless.
Thank you, भैया.
Thank you, sir, for your informative words, and thank you, Ricky Mohanty, for the question. Any other participant? Anyone from the
Ma'am, so actually I had a question.
Yeah.
So actually I wanted to know, like, according to you, what matters the most? The Is it the package or the salary which I'm getting from a job, or the job opportunity in the company? Which
I think it's not the package that matters the most. It's the job opportunity at the company that you're getting. The job has to have the right elements that would help you to develop your skills even further. It might be that you are into a well-paying job, but it's not going to help you move forward in the development that is needed from the market perspective. Might be that the job asks you to do something redundant. So even if they are offering you good money, it's not something that will be, let's say, sustainable in the long run, because ultimately job is determined by market forces, and if you're not at pace with the market forces, then you'd become redundant. So it's not the package definitely that I would look at. It would be what the job entails or what the job includes, and will it have the essential elements that would help me to develop my skills and develop my perspective and knowledge and area of expertise. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank
And
you, sir.
if I can add one more thing is, as Salman said, it's very important to have your learning initially in the life. Don't care too much about the money part. See what you can learn, what kind of networking or colleagues and friends you can make. Once that is sorted out, in long term, the money will automatically come in. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shivesh. Anyone else from the participants? It's a
Yeah.
great
Um,
opportunity.
Good
You can
evening,
ask.
sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Good evening,
Yeah, good
sir.
evening.
Sir, I would like to ask you, so whether after we get the job, so is it wiser for us to ask for benefits from the company itself? So because I have heard that some of the companies offer us a certain amount of scholarship to pursue our further education. So is it wiser for us to ask it just after we get our first job, or should we like gain a little bit of momentum before we do so, sir?
I think it's a very good question. First of all, good evening to you as well. It's a very good question, and I think you need to understand basically what is the construct of a job. A job is not going to be like your college. It is there to, let's say, extract something from you, your skills, your time, your energy, to create some value for the organization. It's not going to be, let's say, social in nature, or it's not going to be, let's say, very supportive in nature if it doesn't see value in you. So first thing that I would do is to make sure that your value is established in the firm. What I mean by that is have the skills that or develop the skills that makes you an important or integral person at job, uh, by to an extent that you are offering lots of value to that particular company. Once you have that good negotiation or negotiating position, then you can negotiate your terms of how you can pursue your education abroad. So if, let's say, I'm a fresher and I just walk into a job, and then I expect that there would be benefits such as scholarship programs and stuff, then I can assure you that it would definitely not come in your way, or it would not be given to you, because you've not first figured out what are the benefits that you can offer to the company who has hired you. So try to always ask yourself, what will the other person gain if you are if you are given a particular opportunity. So there has to be a win-win situation. If there's no win-win situation in the job market, then such kind of scenarios don't go much further. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Avansh Basanit. Anyone else? If you have any question, you may ask. So it seems, sir, there is
Request
no more.
students to kindly ask questions. Please be open with questions. Yeah, all questions are relevant. Yeah, you have an opportunity today to ask to your own seniors. Yeah, they are very experienced and they are giving very relevant answer. Please take this opportunity. Yes, any more questions? If not, then at a later stage, if you have some questions, please send it to us. We would forward it to our two resource persons today. maybe they would send us over the mail or some messages later on. If you still want to ask,
Excuse me,
please do.
sir. So sorry to interrupt you midway, sir. Sir, but I did have one more question with our seniors, sir. That was whether the first impression is the last impression. Uh, Philosophy applies when we ask anything from our uh, uh, company, sir.
No, I would not. I would not. I would not see it like that. That the first impression is the last impression. See yourself as an asset. See yourself as someone who has the capability to drive value in the organization. So even if, let's say, you did not make the first best impression, it could be also possible to improve that, improve upon that, and come up with something that is again of great value to the company for which you're working, or maybe to the colleagues for whom you're working or with whom you're working. So never get discouraged by such words like, okay, this is the last opportunity, this is the first and the last opening, or whatever. There's always an opportunity to make things better, to to drive things, even if they have gone bad at the first instance. So yeah, don't get discouraged or daunted by such kind of, let's say, statements. Yeah.
And to add to that, maybe, yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, yes, sir. So I wanted to ask another question. So you said before that we should branch out our skills even further than just going straight into our curriculum. So I was thinking that whether not just branching from the curriculum itself. I mean, not just going to technical education, sir, but technical skills, technical education, but so going into something much more market relevant. So like these days, cryptocurrency, NFTs, and graphic designing is really on demand. So is polishing those skills a good thing to do? And is it like something that can be of relevance when someone offers us a job, sir?
I think you have to look at it from a package perspective. What I mean by that is you need to ask yourself, if I have good graphic designing skills, what or how can I package it to the market? Can I become a good graphic designer? Definitely yes. But can I go into a consulting company saying I'm a good graphic designer? Perhaps no. Can I go into electrical engineering and say that I'm a good graphic designer? Perhaps no. So you need to look at yourself as what are you bringing as a package. Everything that adds value to, let's say, a particular position would be something that would be definitely encouraged to have in your package. For example, if you are electrical engineer, and as Risha mentioned that there's lots of times when you need data analytical abilities or AI skills, or maybe something like a language like Python. So if you have those skills of like Python or data analytics skills, then perhaps it's a good package along with electrical engineering. But if you learn something like graphic designing, uh, it could be, let's say, a side hobby for you. It's not something that I would definitely discourage. It could be a side hobby for you, but it would not, let's say, be a part of the main package. So in order to understand what exactly could you include in the package, you can take a look at the job market and try to understand from a job description perspective, are these things that are required for a particular person or for a particular profile? If those things are required, then definitely include it in your resume. But if those things you think that are not related at all, then I would say give it a second thought, maybe park it as your hobby, and then try to move things forward. I would not discourage you from pursuing anything, be it or it could be as random as cryptocurrency and electrical engineering. So combination of these two things. Definitely cryptocurrency as of today is something that is making lots of noises, but ask yourself this question: what can you do by learning that thing? Can you become a good trader? Can you make lots of money for yourself, and or can you generate lots of value? If the answer is yes, then go ahead, get the required knowledge. But if no, then perhaps you should ask yourself, what am I good at? So look at your own skills and strengths.
Yes,
I
sir.
will
Thank you,
say
sir.
one thing: don't follow trends without understanding them fully and knowing how can you contribute to that. So a lot of these things will come and go, but you have to understand if you can do good at it, of course, go ahead. But you have to assess your skills first. And one general point I also wanted to make for everyone, because I see a lot of concern for the job market and jobs, and I have been through this process myself. I would say one thing, that don't think your first job is the last job, and don't think job is the end of your journey. Job, uh, the first job is also a learning, and the end, like this is a learning process. The learning doesn't stop after you finish from your university. And if you don't get a job of your liking or a position of your liking, just keep on learning and try to improve and get better and better. So it's a continuous process. Don't think it ends at job, and if you don't get a good one or the one you like, it's end. So it's a continuous process, and I've been through that myself. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Avansh. Anyone else? So if you have any question, you can ask, or we will stop the question answer round here. So it seems, sir, there is no more question. Thank you, sir, for all the answers that you have given. Uh, So I think there is no more question. So we are considering that there is no more question. So on behalf of AAA department, I would like to thank our speakers, Dr. Rishabh Bhandia sir and Mr. Salman Shamsi sir, for accepting our invitation and giving us precious time out of your busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir. We are obliged to Professor Dr. G.L. Sharma, Director SMIT, for his constant support and motivation to organize the alumni talk. We are grateful to Mr. Mohammad Nasir Ansari, sir, Head of the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, SMIT. Thank you, sir, for your continuous support and encouragement. I'm also grateful to all the participants for your participations. Once again, I thank all for your kind attention. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank
Have
you.
a nice evening ahead.
Thank you, sir. So I am conclude. Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Uh, I'd also like to thank Dr. Rishabh and Mr. Salman. Yeah, I'm so very grateful that you accepted our invitation. The presentation today, I honestly say that this was a very good presentation. Yeah. It was important that our alumni themselves speak to our student, and I'm sure the student must have been highly motivated after listening to this particular presentation. Yeah. The way you framed this presentation was quite good. The question and answer session, the 10 rules for good career, isn't it? The success at work, and also the whatever answers that you've given, those are very relevant. Yeah, I myself, I'm so delighted that I could be part of this. I'm, I'm sure that even the students or the faculty members, some other alumni, recent pass out student would also have liked this very much. Thank you once again. Okay, we will always keep in touch with you. Okay, we need a lot of your support, not only you two, maybe others also. If you can help us to connect with them, few days back, I was in touch with Serpa sir also. Yeah, I had requested him to join if it was possible. Maybe it's due to some reason it was not possible. Okay, but he was very grateful that you have accepted our invitation. On behalf of him also, I would like to convey thanks. So please do help us in future as well. Please help us to connect with the others also, so that ultimately our students get benefited, our present students get benefited. So with that word, I thank you once again.
Thanks a lot, sir. Means a lot.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, I think we can conclude here.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
All the best.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.